I'm X.
And I'm Z.
And this is X and Z.
On today's podcast, we talk about Joe Biden's second day. We talked about reality TV. We talked about the coronavirus. We talked about YouTube fame versus regular fame and many more things. So stay tuned in. Big scary.
What do you want to discuss?
What has happened today?
Today's day 2 of the President Joseph R. Biden Jr. presidency. Did you know what his middle name is?
Joe Biden?
Yeah, R, what the R stands for.
No, I don't.
I just found this out yesterday. I was assuming it was Robert.
Robert?
I don't know.
He doesn't look like a
Joseph
Bob.
Robert.
White guy name.
Joseph Robert Biden Jr., right? No, it's Robinette.
Why does he have a girl middle name?
I don't know if it was a familiar name or if it's like Leslie.
Leslie.
Like Leslie can, or
like
Charlie.
when Leslie Knope met Joe Biden, everyone's bringing back that meme right now.
That was actually a very good episode.
That was an excellent episode.
She's funny.
Wait. All right, we're back. Yes.
I don't know. I was just thinking. I need to watch Parks and Recs.
You haven't? Oh yeah,
didn't
you just like stalked my episodes
I've seen
sometimes.
yeah, of course.
Well, like you haven't seen all of The Office either.
I actually haven't seen much of The Office.
The Office is great.
I thought about that the other day because now that you got me to watch Schitt's Creek, I thought
All these shows you thought were stupid
I didn't
aren't
think they were stupid. It's just I didn't know if I had the patience to sit down and watch it.
Well, they're all very similar.
So are the Housewives, and I watched those.
I don't.
Are you sure?
Well, I watched TLC, and then The Housewives is kind of like TLC, but like I feel like this. I don't know how it was like in the thousands, but nowadays it's kind of just the same staged fight every episode.
Yeah, but I think where they differ is the NYU could probably like the TLC stuff more, like the 90 Day Fiancé.
I do watch 90 Day Fiancé.
Is because for one, they aren't all my age ladies.
Yeah, they're
right?
all
and older.
They're all old ladies.
And they also I think it's also more. It's not the same thing over and over again. They're the same people at the same place.
TLC isn't, but The Housewives is.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's
it doesn't matter if you go to what's the new one? Salt Lake City, Orange County, or New Jersey. They're all the same ladies. The Jersey ladies are a little bit more Jersey, I guess.
Well, you know what's funny, and that kind of what started that, like New Jersey Housewives, when Teresa flipped the table years ago, like that was when like all the fights started going down. Like you can't have a season now that there aren't fights.
I thought it was every episode.
It can be, but I mean, like seriously, there's like a common thread of one of them is the bad guy, and that's how it's written, because they're written. I mean, they're not. I guess part of it is probably.
I sometimes feel like TLC stuff is written, and then sometimes I think it's real.
Somebody said, I don't remember which one it was, but somebody said that they do those scenes more than once. Like, when they were going through the furniture store with the lady that was kind of telling him that he should be nicer to her.
Is that why, like, the weird, like,
I think it's
peripheral people are always cool? I think it's why
when they edit and the people are, like, they look different, that's why. Because it was, like, taken at a different time.
Well, that's kind of a bummer because it's, like, not at all impossible to do an actual reality show. Like, you could totally put cameras on someone's life. Sure. It'd probably be more boring.
Well, I mean,
people's lives are pretty boring.
I guess if I go back to like The Real World, which was like the original reality series from MTV, like in the 90s, right? That was not so scripted, but if you look back and you saw that, it was pretty boring because really all you were doing was watching these people in their house, right? Live their lives, which is what we're doing, but it's entertainment because there's a little more stuff going on. I don't know. They stopped doing those house ones a long time ago.
Are you aware of David Dobrik? Do you know anything about David Dobrik?
No, who's that?
Ooh, this is a good X and Z thing because this is something all the Z people know and none of the X people know.
Okay, what?
David Dobrik is like this YouTuber who exploded, and it's essentially like short form reality TV. Like it's like a 5-minute episode.
Like the Quibi thing that was going on?
No idea what Quibi is. It's like he's a YouTuber and he's like this really dingy little white guy and like he's rich and I don't know how he got rich. and he and his buds like hang out, and like there's all these little dramas, and they unfold over these like short episodes, and then like people watch all the episodes, and they're like, oh, David should be with this girl. Oh, David should be with this girl. Oh no, this guy was mean. And it's like, it's the same
Wait,
thing.
where did they discuss it on? Like Twitter, Reddit?
Wherever, if you Twitter, Reddit, I don't know how.
Is it similar to like the 90 Day Fiance tell all Facebook group? Is
No.
it that kind of thing?
They do it in like the YouTube comments and on like Twitter.
They're
Like
mean,
that's
too.
primarily where it happens. No, but like they're not mean. It's just like,
Their opinion of what should happen.
yeah, but it's pretty amazing. Like David Dobrik just took the formula that TV uses and like made it short form and did it with younger people because they're all young. They're like a little bit older than me. And then
Does he adjust it every week? Like, if the people say they want a certain girl and it should have been that one, does he then get with her?
I don't actively watch David Dobrik, but he does his stuff independently of what his fans think. I think they just script it to make, and it seems really real. It might be real. I don't know, but like, it's just like a bunch of teens hanging out together, except they're really rich. And it's kind of like imagine if that was a reality
So like
TV
the
show.
Kardashians internet version with not quite that rich.
Yeah, but Kardashians use like there's a huge like divide between like internet fame and like TV fame. Like the Kardashians are very like TV fame, but internet fame there's like,
Well, there's another X and Z thing, right? So
I still like,
no, you still like. I'm just saying. I only know a few of them, internet fame people.
well, yeah, but
Like people will say people from, I don't know, this YouTuber, and I'm like, who's that? And you and your brother will start talking about it, and I have no idea what you're talking
yeah, we know about like David Dobrik's one, and he's a YouTuber, and then there's the guys on TikTok, that's for the even younger Zoomers. Like I'm not very much active on TikTok.
I have a TikTok.
Yeah,
Because
because
two
when the
people have
old
asked me-
people invaded TikTok and all the kids are.
Wait, you can't. Old people may have taken it over or tried to be on it since the pandemic. I have a TikTok. I rarely open it.
Yeah, but you like do what everyone did with Vines, which is like watch TikToks on YouTube.
I don't even do that. Like I don't even use YouTube to really watch videos that much. I just have it because like two different people asked me to follow them on TikTok, so I did, but I don't see their stuff.
I don't like TikTok.
I'm seriously,
The old Zoomers, so me, I'm like on
You're
the edge
almost
of
a
Zoomer and Millennial, and the Millennials, like we don't super participate in it. It's mostly like the 2002, 3, 4 kids and younger. They're really into it.
and you guys don't even really. I mean, for sure you don't like Facebook. That's all me.
I like Facebook because I like Facebook to the degree that it was how I traded shifts, and I like
To
Facebook.
work.
I don't have a
But that's a group thing.
I don't have a follow. Yeah, it was a group thing. I don't have a following on Twitter, and I don't have a
I have
following.
a Twitter following.
I don't have a following on Instagram. So sometimes I go to Facebook just because at least I have like Facebook friends. Like Zoomers do still use Facebook. We use Facebook. We find someone we know in real life because Facebook has magical powers. And then we message that person and give them our Instagram.
Oh, like if you meet someone on
Yeah,
Facebook?
like it's a lot easier to meet people on Facebook.
That's another thing you guys don't do. You don't ever give each other your phone numbers.
Well,
Like you can, like if somebody stops talking to you, they like block you on Snapchat.
you
and
can
then
block a
don't-
number.
And then you don't talk again, but you never had each other's like phone number.
Well,
That to me is the weirdest thing.
why is that weird? It's
I don't know. I
just-
feel like I feel like people that have my phone number, I don't know, would.
I
I mean, I guess there's a couple people I could say like on Facebook Messenger or whatever that don't have my phone number for no other reason than we kind of only talk there. But I don't know. I just feel like everyone generally has your phone number.
If someone's a green bubble, because I'm an iPhone guy, if someone's a green bubble, then I don't want their phone number at all.
Do you think that is just a you thing,
No.
or do you think that's a your age
There
thing?
have been
'Cause
like
I don't care.
when I was in high school, I got ostracized because I was a green bubble fellow, and like there's stories on like Reddit
like a thing?
I was a green bubble, so they didn't want to text me. So a lot of like times it's good to have Snapchat and stuff because
because-
that's on like all phones.
Is it because they were cheap and they couldn't afford the data
No,
charge?
green
What?
bubbles suck. You don't get it because you don't.
I don't, because your dad has he's a green bubble.
Yeah, he doesn't text.
And-
Thank God.
Well, he texts me occasionally and he responds occasionally.
No, green bubbles. There's a character limit first of all.
There is?
Yes.
Oh, is that why when people send me long ones, they come in like 12?
Yes, there's like
okay.
150 character limits, and then the
didn't
phones
realize
auto
that.
parse it out.
Yeah.
And then like if you're in like
That's funny.
if you're in a cellular dead zone, but you're connected to Wi-Fi, iMessages will go through, but sometimes green bubbles won't.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I get
And
it.
green bubbles just like you're like most kids my age don't know about this, but this is also a disadvantage of green bubbles. Blue bubbles Apple can't see and your service provider can't see. Green bubbles your service provider reads every word.
But do you think they actually read
They
it?
archive it all, and if the government demands it,
Oh, I see.
it can be used against you in court.
So they can.
Apple's end-to-end encrypted. They don't store it anywhere.
Well, I know this is, I go back to this always, but I've always had an iPhone. The one time for a second that I had the note that you were,
Well, yeah.
you didn't think oh, iPhones aren't cool, whatever. I always had an iPhone.
Well, it's not. You can avoid SMS on. SMS is a green bubble.
Yeah, the green bubble.
You can avoid it on Android too. You just have to use Signal. Like, have you seen that mass exodus from Facebook to
Yeah,
Signal
but from what I understand,
or Telegram?
yeah, but from what I understand, Signal is like. Oh no, it's not.
No,
Signal.
Signal's
Gab is the one. That's
No,
the white
Signal's
supremacy.
amazing. I've used Signal for years.
No, I'm thinking of Gab.
No, yeah. Elon Musk.
Wasn't Allo encrypted?
Yeah, but it was Google, and you know how Google is.
Okay, so. But Signal's not. Gab is the one that all the white supremacists
Well,
went
supposedly the white supremacists have been going also to Telegram, but Telegram's always been good, so I think it's just people
place to
people are trying to slander
to. I
Telegram.
think part of the thing is so.
But Signal's
a lot
better
of
than
those
Telegram.
Guys are Generation X like me.
Signal has better end-to-end encryption than Telegram.
But I don't think they quite understand. I think they think that it's just another social media platform, but that's not social media, right? That's a texting app.
What?
Signal.
In Telegram? Yeah,
Telegram.
they're just
I mean, that's not social
they're just
media.
basically iMessage, but not owned by Apple. It's just, it serves the exact same
I
function.
know, but I think they're under the illusion that they're actually moving to another social media platform.
Well, a lot of them probably text over WhatsApp, and they don't want to text over WhatsApp because it was a mass exodus from WhatsApp because Facebook they already had an invasive terms of service, but now their terms of service is even more invasive.
What, Facebook?
Yeah, WhatsApp
Oh,
WhatsApp is Facebook, and Facebook Messenger and Instagram Messenger. They're all bad. They're all the same.
I don't think I've ever used Instagram Messenger.
Well, it's the same as Facebook
I don't
Messenger.
even know how to. Well, I take that back.
You just press the thing that looks like a paper airplane, and then you send a message.
That's true. I do know how to do that.
Yeah, Facebook can see and record and save
Yeah,
all
doesn't
of that.
Facebook can see your messaging on
yeah,
Messenger, right?
Facebook has, according to the terms of service you agree to, Facebook can see everything.
What about the Twitter chat? Same?
I don't know Twitter's terms of service. It's not end-to-end encrypted, first of all.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not secure. Like, it might be encrypted, I don't know, but it's not secure. Twitter is not a fucking secure. Oh, I have to bleep that, don't I? Twitter's not a secure. What time is it at? It doesn't tell me. Okay. Twitter's not a secure way to chat. Like, Twitter is a social media platform. If your messenger is connected to a social media platform, it's probably not secure. Like, WeChat is not secure. China can see.
Which is pretty funny.
I would
because
never
all
use
the guys
WeChat.
that are super like anti-China, like
They don't use WeChat.
They now hate. Yeah.
Who?
Oh, WeChat.
No
I'm
one
thinking-
uses
wait,
WeChat except Chinese
No,
people.
I'm thinking MeWe.
You're not good at this.
I'm not good at this.
X.
Be nice, Z.
At least I know what I'm talking about.
I know what I'm talking about. I'm learning. I'm learning.
That transcends generations.
I'm learning. That's my favorite. I love Ralph.
And when the bus is crashing, he's like, "I'm in danger."
See, that's the good thing about those type of things, like SpongeBob.
SpongeBob is owned by
Simpsons.
the late millennials and the early Zoomers.
No, I know, but I mean, like I watched SpongeBob
Yeah,
constantly
but
when
you
were
watched
little,
it as the parent.
but I got all of the double talk that
Well,
you
like,
guys didn't.
That's
get.
why Gen X's, millennials, and Zoomers tend to get along a little better. And then you throw a Boomer into the equation, and Boomers grew up with like an entirely different lexicon.
Well, did we not just tell your grandmother yesterday of all of the stuff that was in SpongeBob, and she had no idea why Sandy Cheeks was in Bikini Bottom?
Yeah, but that's like, it's kind of like there's always the big fight between Boomers and millennials, right? And that fight doesn't exist between Xers and Zoomers, like, not that I've seen. Like,
Well, maybe. I mean, maybe in just
not
in
as much.
Maybe I would assume that other people would probably fight with their parents a little more.
You know,
than we do.
Zoomers don't have like we don't have as many quips with boomers as millennials do.
We don't have any quips with boomers because they're our parents. I mean, I guess people would, but
Well, like
I've always been around boomers. They're my parents.
yeah, but like I've always been around boomers too. But the millennials just have a special way of being.
The whole, okay, boomer.
But millennials are like we watched that dumb minimalism thing the other day, and that was all millennials, and they were so like for people who are supposed to be like minimal and like very quaint, they're like, yeah, my minimalism makes me so happy.
But I think it's
are
more
you
of them,
happy?
I think it's more of them trying to convince themselves that they're happy with
They're
us.
not happy. And it's like partly like society's fault, right? Because millennials got kind of a screwed economic and social situation. But like it's also partly just like, come on, guys.
But they didn't all get that. I mean, I know that's like the thing, like, oh, poor me, because I grew up. No, I went through.
It's like
I
harder
went
to
through 9/11.
It's
and I
harder
went
to pay
through-
for college, and it's harder to have a house. It's a lot harder to be a millennial than it is to be as Xer or a boomer. Boomers and Xers compared to millennials had a lot easier time with those kind of basic needs type
Yeah, I
things.
can understand that, but they seem to be trying to convince themselves that if they live with less, they're happier. And I'm not quite sure
That might be a direct result of them having to live with less.
maybe.
Millennials literally, like, it's measurable. They make less
Well, there
adjusted
was
for
still-
inflation.
I mean, there was still before that. I mean, I'm 43, so I'm a Gen Xer. But I kind of ended right at being able to buy a house and get married.
yeah.
But I did that very early.
But that house cost you less than wasn't it less than 200 grand?
Oh yeah, 112.
Okay, there are no longer houses in Southern California
I
less
totally
than
agree
200
with that.
grand.
What I'm saying is that even for Generation X, like there were ones after me before Generation Y that were not able to buy a house. I know several of them. Like it just became too expensive.
Well,
too
yeah,
fast.
but that's also like the end of that's like when Gen X is like at the end of it, so they're late Xers, so they end up being more
Kind of millennials.
millennial-ish.
They're,
Just
like,
like
on the line.
I'm early Zoomer, so I'm a little bit millennial-ish.
Yeah.
Like the little one is not at all millennial-ish.
No, he's very and it's distinctive. Like you can see the way that his cohort is compared to yours.
They're
It's
different.
very different.
They're luckily the millennials I think were more the early Zoomers and the millennials got hit kind of with the antisocial stick, and it looks like the late Zoomers are doing
Yeah.
a better job.
Your brother is way more social, and I don't think that that's just a personality trait. I think that they'll call each other where you guys only text.
Well, he's also there. It's not necessarily a controlled experiment because he's also the second kid, and you were less helicopter with him. So we don't have a controlled experiment here.
Yeah, but his friends had.
But
parents
they're all second kids
but
too.
his friends were had parents that were not helicopter at all ever,
Yeah.
and those kids still will call each other. They're just different from your group. You can tell just how he acts.
I like calling. I just have to get out of my moods enough to initiate the
I
call.
personally don't like calling. I would much rather text someone. Because if I have to be on a long conversation with somebody and I'm not face to face with them, which I do like conversing face to face. I like the social aspect of being together. But if I have to be on a phone call, I will get distracted.
I like calling when they let me do something else and talk to them, because some people are cool with that.
But if I do something else, I'm not paying attention to them.
I can split my attention. I'm a pretty
I'm
good
not good at
multitasker.
splitting attention. Because then I'll be like, what? I mean, I do that with you. I can't. If I'm doing something else, I can't.
Isn't that stupid computer loud?
Which one?
My stupid computer.
I can't hear it.
Well, it's not on.
Oh, earlier?
Yeah, it was loud.
Yeah, but listen, I have a hearing problem. So until you recorded it and I could hear it on the recording, I don't hear it.
Well, this thing, the fan isn't spinning right now, so it's literally making zero noise. It only has one fan, and it only turns on when you're like rendering video. So
Makes sense.
it gets quiet.
I think this is a lull.
What are we talking about?
So what did we talk about today? So
we talked
Joe
about,
Biden's second day in office. Are we happy?
I am. You seemed the other day to be like, well, I don't think anything's gonna happen.
Well, I don't think nothing's going to happen. I think it's going to be kind of a status quo administration.
I think we need a little bit of status quo, but I also saw
I
him
agree.
today be like, come on, man, I'm so mad at you. He got all mad at that press person. So
Was he in the press briefing room or where was it?
the press was. I don't fully understand. I didn't fully look into what was happening, but my understanding is that he was in something where he was with the press, and his plan is to get distributed 100 million, one third of the population, 100 million coronavirus vaccines, but in his first 100 days. And one of the guys criticized that, like, that's not enough. It was something, low bar. He said something along those lines. And then Biden was like, come on, man. And then he said, like, he said something else. He said, like, well, he said something like dismissive and then walked off, like, really pissed.
I think one of the problems that the media needs to resolve is that they've gotten so used to not respecting the office, right? Trump was a disaster and a chaotic mess, and it made them a lot of money because it made it you know, ratings have been through the roof for cable news for the last 4 years. It just has. And the sparring and the chaos is what Trump's really good at. So he got them to do that because the chaos was great. So the back and forth, the Twitter fights, all the things that they did.
Yeah, but Trump wasn't a governor. He didn't, like, I know he didn't govern. He was just a celebrity in chief.
I'm not saying that they really needed to give him more respect because respect is earned. He didn't deserve the respect. However, the executive, especially when we have one that is of sound mind, should be respected. And I think they need to relearn that. And I think it's going to take some time.
Well, they should call out Biden if he does something wrong. But This is Biden's day 2, day 1, if you count the first day as day 0, which I thought everyone was doing, but I guess not. So day 2, Biden is going to administer quite a lot of something that is supposedly...
What?
What are you poking me for?
Because you're shaking that.
Biden is going to administer... He's going to distribute something that is, according to everything I understand, is extremely difficult to distribute. And he's going to do 1/3 of the population of a hyper-massive country, like, in his first 100 days. If he can get that done, I don't know how that's a low bar. Like,
it's a lot.
Like, that's like, come on, guys. If you're going to criticize Biden for something he does, like, make it something criticizable. If he gets to the
100 days and couldn't do it, I could see where you might have a criticism then.
They always overpromise, even right? Then.
But still, then you have the criticism.
Yeah, then you have.
But I don't think you should do it before, just assuming he will fail or assuming it's not enough.
No, they were assuming it's not enough. They weren't assuming he'll fail.
And remember, here's another thing.
They're almost asking him to overpromise.
But here's another thing too, and I think that this is another thing the media misses, is that a lot of this is also the ability of the states and then the counties to be able to get that going. Look at Orange County versus LA County. LA County is a disaster. They set up Dodger Stadium. People can't get their appointments. They get down there and they're like, well, you're not approved. You can't do it. Even after Gavin Newsom said that people 65 and over could go get it, LA County would not give it to people under 75. LA County has been a mess since the beginning of this. Orange County's been a little bit better. Granted, we are smaller, but still, we also have less resources. So it's kind of ridiculous if the counties can't get it together, the states can't get it together, and then they're going to pile on to Joe Biden for not getting it done. I don't know how fair that is. He doesn't necessarily have the capacity, and he should know his limitations too. Let's hope, but they should all know their limitations.
Well, people have these expectations for the virus to be, or for the vaccine to be like this cure-all, and like, okay, it works, and then everyone's vaccinated, and then we're golden, right? But like, I don't know, like, maybe we should find some way to cope other than the vaccine, because clearly the vaccine's going to be a while.
Yeah.
Like, it's been over 10 months of this at this point, and like, we found no way to cope with it.
That's another problem too. Well, but in all fairness, what people don't realize is that we have managed to cope in some ways, because the death rate has fallen over the past 10 months, because we aren't over-treating anymore, right? So they do have some pharmaceutical interventions that are helpful, and they've made better strides that way, right? They're finally listening to the actual experts who say this works and this works and this works.
Yeah, but the end goal is to like go back to normal, right? And like we're far from achieving that goal.
You know what though? I think that some of that is because
we can't even eat at a restaurant anymore.
People aren't willing to do that.
People aren't willing to acknowledge that they're okay. Like, a lot of people are just really okay. Scared. They're just okay though. Like, a lot of people are okay. Like, my friend who went to the beach and like was sitting on the beach and was mad that people weren't wearing masks. Like, come on, Zoomers. Like, seriously, like, it's the beach.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous.
That was
when you're
stupid.
outside. Last night, Joe Biden went to
It wasn't the crowded beach.
The Lincoln
it was
Memorial with his family, and they got pictures taken with their masks off. So everyone has lost their mind.
Well, clearly not everyone, because it wasn't even in my news cycle, and I keep.
Well,
on the
I mean,
pulse.
it was on Twitter,
Yeah.
and it was, the people that are for masks, the people that are against masks. Oh, well, he promised to wear them, and now he's not wearing them. I think we also need to understand what he is capable of doing, what his powers are as in governance too.
And he got both doses.
That's why he called it. Yeah, he got both doses. His grandchildren are young. There's very limited risk there, and they were the only ones in Lincoln Memorial. Just the family. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous too.
Since Biden is the president now, every day is a slow news day.
I guess that's true.
So they gotta find something.
Remember, that's why he called it 100-day mask challenge, because he doesn't have the power to
Yeah,
make
everyone's
it a
like mask
mandate.
mandate. He literally doesn't
He
have the
only
power.
has the power of the federal government. He does not have the power of every government, and people don't realize it.
And
But
even
I think
people-
they just want to pile on.
Even people who do have the power don't have the power, because they did a mask mandate and then the police were like, we're not enforcing the mask mandate. So really, it comes down to the enforcers, and the enforcers are like, that's a waste of
But
our
you'd
time
think
and
people-
money.
You'd think people would get that, and they don't, because they still, like little minions, will throw the mask on and do whatever they're told
you
to
have
do.
to you have to do the mask in private businesses that mandate it, because
Yeah, I wear the
they
mask.
have
It's
the
not
right.
a hill to die.
They have the right to do that.
Yeah.
Like, if we're going to be
Absolutely.
fair.
No,
like,
they do.
Even like 10 years from now, if a private business wanted to arbitrarily make you wear a face diaper for no reason, they absolutely have the right to do so, and they have the right to kick you out if you don't follow those things.
That's right.
But that being said, like, in public spaces, like, it's down to the government, it's down to those in power, and then it's down to their enforcers. So it's a lot of places for people to be like, okay, that's like, even if the cops like stoutly believed that we should all be wearing masks, like, that all costs money to enforce that.
Well,
And I'm
but
sure the
remember-
cops are like, well, we need to do other things.
But remember what they say, though. They say that the reason that they aren't enforcing it is because they want to make sure that they have the full right to enforce that. Because it does tread on something along the lines of, like, okay, a private business, yes, they can mandate you to wear one when they go in their store, right? But out in the street, I don't really think they have that same.
I think
government really doesn't have that
I think
power.
the government does have the power to mandate masks with popular support, and they have it right now. But the minute that popular support fizzles is the minute that masks fizzle. They do. There's nothing in the Constitution, as far as I know, that prevents local governments from mask policing.
No, I don't think there's any. No, I don't
Like,
think so.
I imagine it would work along the same constitutional lines as public nudity.
It's only illegal if somebody complains.
But
That's how the laws work.
that's kind of most things.
Yeah. But everybody would complain.
Exactly.
It's become a virtue signal. So
If
that's
it's
what
a
they're
public, if it's in the public, if they have public support right now. So as
The
long as
problem
public
that I have
support
with it-
exists.
The problem that I have with it is that I don't think people like to use the seatbelt analogy. Well, we all wear seatbelts because that's the law. But seatbelts were proven scientifically to work to prevent deaths before they ever became policy. Masks weren't.
Also,
In fact, if you go back to before May, April, I mean, our government was literally telling us masks don't work. And that was the truth. The science didn't change. The politic did.
I mean,
and that's the
science
problem.
can change, but all the
But the science didn't change.
I've looked at the studies that they say have proven that masks work. I've looked at their methodology.
They're usually
and
modeling studies.
It's usually not very convincing.
Not only are they modeling studies, but they're studies that show certain periods of time where the virus itself was like in a lull anyway. A new one came out in the Lancet last week, and it was saying that they tested people they asked people if they were wearing their mask between like May and June. Between May and June of this year, the virus in most places was pretty non-active. So it's pretty silly to say, oh, well, the cases went down because people were wearing more masks. But that's not true, because now people are wearing masks more than they've ever worn masks, and right now they're rising everywhere.
There's a lot of
everywhere.
like preliminary evidence that's in the margin of error, or that are not properly tested, and then they come out with this preliminary evidence, and I guess it's kind of like a we're hedging our bets thing, and then it's like, this is
Well,
the truth.
That's true. You could say that. Like I also hear that people say, "Oh, well, why won't you wear the mask?" Or I wear the mask so that I can protect other people. And if it turns out to not be something that worked, I tried to protect as many people as I could. Well, that's all well and fine. But if you're mandating a mask that has evidence showing that there's a possibility that the mask can increase infections, that's not a good thing. People don't know how to handle PPE. If nurses and doctors treated their PPE the way regular people in the community
You mean
do,
shoving it in my back pocket?
yeah, shove it in your back
I
pocket.
thought I was supposed to
I
do
see people
that.
coming out of Trader Joe's with ripping the mask off and putting it in their hand to push the cart to their car.
Thus putting all the virus on their hand.
Yes. So if the virus was present, you're not really protecting yourself.
Well, whatever, you know. Well, no one. I don't think anyone claims that the mask protects you. I think people claim that it protects other people.
Some claim both, but
Well,
either
the
way,
people who claim
like,
both are definitely idiots. The only evidence that has any chance of even slightly being is protecting other people.
there's still very limited data that
Yeah,
says
there's
that
limited
happens.
data that says that happens. I'm just saying that
That's
there's
the
an
thing.
inkling of a possibility.
Yeah.
And we can't live like this forever anyway. It's like not like
No.
no one wants to live like this forever.
I think the worst part is that what it's doing to you guys. I mean, my generation, you know, I already worked from home. It wasn't that big of a deal. That stuff didn't change a lot. I don't have a giant social life, so that's not an issue. But the young people are really struggling, and that's where we need to change. You guys are at less risk than the older people. Ergo, you should be out living your lives, and then we can protect ourselves. We'll be okay.
Well, that study came out, right? That
And
said
especially now with the vaccine.
that young people are have the highest propensity to believe it'll kill them when
Yes.
young people have the lowest chance of it killing
the
them.
lowest risk have the highest fear. That's true. Yes, absolutely.
So that's funny.
Because perceived risk is, but remember, those are people that are watching the news all
There's
the time.
people out like on social media that are like young and healthy, right? Like I know them personally, and they're young and healthy, and they're like, the virus could kill me. And I'm like, the virus could kill you if you were like 0.01% of people, but are you?
It's very low risk, and for children, technically they have a higher risk with flu. But if you say that, then you're told you're not allowed to compare it to the flu, and that's not really comparing it to the flu. That's just making a statement that's true. That's a factual statement.
I mean, they still compare it to the flu. I think I saw a report come out that said it was roughly twice as deadly as the flu. That's a comparison to the flu.
Yeah, the infection fatality rate is about 0.22%, and the flu is 0.14%.
So roughly twice the flu.
Roughly twice the flu. But the
Why-
flu kills more young people. That's the thing. Like the flu does also kill old people.
Well,
I mean,
why
old people die.
There have
every
been
year of
worse
the flu.
plagues, like most
There have been
definitely.
far worse plagues. In fact,
And-
this one kind of is roughly about what the 1969 flu, the 1957 pandemic flu.
Why
and
we
neither of
shut
those
down the whole world for something twice as bad as the flu is beyond me.
Fear and money.
But a lot of people in my cohort seem to like it, so
A lot of people in my cohort seem to like it.
that's weird. But whatever.
You're not going to change them. Don't
Well, a lot of people just they're only.
It's groupthink. That's what it is.
It's a lot of groupthink.
It's all groupthink.
People.
Because they feel like they're part of the group and doing something collectively if they just do A, B, or C.
Well, people
I don't
only,
have
like-
any problem with that. I think that's great. I think that the collective is good, that people should care about other people. I think that's a good thing. I don't go out of my way to try and harm people in the world. I never have. That being said, it also is not okay to shame other people for a differing view. You can't automatically say you're an idiot because, like, that's not fair. And that's what everybody's doing, and that's not fair.
Well, whatever. It'll be over at some point.
I think it'll be over in the next 100 days.
Twill. I liked my job in my life before, right? So it's kind of a bummer to lose all that.
Yeah, you guys need to be back
Been
in your
pretty
lives.
lost.
You definitely need to be back in your lives.
Throwback to my friend who said Disneyland shouldn't be open and then went to Disney World.
The hypocrisy is definitely an issue.
That was hilarious. And then she got so mad at me when I told her she was a hypocrite.
Is that like Governor Newsom shutting down California, but also going to French Laundry?
You know, everyone thinks he's an idiot now, right? Like the Dems too. Like,
I'm a Dem. I think he's an idiot.
yeah, but not you. Like, I'm talking like Dems, like in power. They are
Did you
slowly
just say I'm
coming
not
out.
in power.
You don't have any power.
I have power over you.
Not really. You let me do whatever I want, and then you say you have power over me, and then continue to let me do whatever I want.
Because you're good and I don't need to enforce the rules. You already know them and you abide by them. Yeah, I agree. People are angry at him, and it's not just the Republicans. But he's done... Yesterday, Governor Moonbeam, Jerry Brown,
Moonbeam was like, bruh.
said that what was it? Gavin Newsom lost a punching bag yesterday, and now he won't have somebody else to blame California's problems on. That cut really deep. For Jerry Brown to say that, I knew I loved Governor Moonbeam for a reason.
Well, I remember earlier on in this, I told you Moonbeam wouldn't have handled it the same as Newsom, and you were all mad, and you were like,
I was like, I don't know.
all the Dems are the same. They're gonna keep handling it the bad way. And I was like, I don't know. I think Moonbeam was more centered than this, and you were all mad. And look at where we are. Me proven right.
I don't know about that, but more right, possibly right.
Can never admit I'm right.
Somewhat. So Bernie Sanders is kind of the star of this whole inauguration thing.
The memes are.
The memes are the best.
Bernie Sanders just sat there.
These memes remind me of
the Joe Biden.
The Joe Biden and Obama ones that after Trump was inaugurated. Like, they're that funny. Cutting him out. I've done 2 myself today, and they're funny.
You've sent me like 20.
Yeah, but those are
funny.
Those are not all the ones I did.
I like when he's saving a spot for Phantasmic.
So I guess his mittens were...
They're like made recyclable, crazy.
By some fan in Vermont or some constituent in Vermont.
Typical Bernie.
No, but the funny thing was that, what was it? The meme that says that he was dressed like he had somewhere else to go. Is that what it said?
No, it's like he has dressed like he has more shit to do today.
Here is it. No, that's not the one.
Yeah, like this is just the first part of his day, and he's got more shit going on later. Like, that's how he's dressed. But he's Bernie Sanders. Like, he's like, oh yeah, an inauguration. I guess I'll go to that.
Well, he has to be a little bit perturbed, right? I think in his mind he thought this was his in a bag.
Had Bernie won the primary, we'd be looking at 4 more years right now. Like, elections are won by the independents, and I don't see the independents going for, I'm a socialist.
Well, I also know that even W said to Clyburn over the phone that he was glad that Clyburn got Joe to run.
Yeah, because had Joe not run,
that he would be the only one that would have been able to beat Trump. And I think that's true. He was the only one available to beat Trump.
I read today that Kamala is the highest woman in politics right now, like the highest ranking woman in politics right now, and like that kind of hit me. Like, oh crap. This is the highest a woman's ever been.
Oh yeah, I know. Isn't that sad? We are behind, every advanced nation.
Well, Russia had Catherine the Great, but
even modern day.
Century ago.
You're talking Angela Merkel, you're talking they had who was it in?
How many centuries ago? When was Catherine the Great? I'm sorry.
1800s?
Maybe, I don't know. It's been a while since Euro.
You're usually better at that.
No, I'm better at US, but Euro I'm not very.
And we've had impressive women in leadership roles in the past.
Well, they're not usually.
But they just don't go further.
They're usually behind the scenes in a lot of it.
I don't think so. I think Madeleine Albright was not behind the scenes, and she was amazing. Hillary Clinton did a great job.
But a lot of Hillary Clinton's stuff was behind the scenes.
Yeah, I guess so.
So she was Secretary of State, and
Madeleine Albright, same.
And the First Lady.
RBG.
Yeah, RBG probably is the most prominent prior to Kamala.
Well, she was one of the highest in the judicial branch, right?
Yeah.
But there are other women on the POTUS, but I think she was like
a
senior judge.
RBG's was a senior judge, and she was actually a feminist. Like, some of the women up there, especially lately, don't strike me as hardcore feminists.
That's true. Well, but even I think that the difference between Ruth Bader Ginsburg was that she not only was a hardcore feminist, but she was unapologetic. She was like, this is who I am, take it or leave it, I don't care, and you're going to take it if you or not, I don't care.
Well, you see a lot of that in Kamala too. So, and I'm only now getting used to calling her Kamala because I called her Kamala for a very long time.
It's really hard.
I guess that's Kamala. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
But I'm good with it. I'm getting used to it. I'm good at that. Like when I changed from Adidas to Adidas and you all got mad at me.
No, I'm not not mad at you. I just think that no one says that.
They do in every other country.
They don't say it in every other country.
In
You
every-
say
in
that like
Europe.
you've been to every
I
other
bet
country.
you if you went to Europe, you'd hear a lot of Adidas.
I'd see a lot of things that people say with accents that still isn't what they say. You lose your mind when I say schedule and progress.
I hate because the schedule doesn't make sense.
Neither does Adidas.
Adidas is German word. Adidas.
Again, nobody calls it that.
I'm just saying.
Because
It's
when
a
you
German
say it,
last
it's like,
name.
what do you also say? Mazda? What do you?
I say Mazda because I think it's funny.
No, but there's another word that you also say because you claim that's the right way to say it.
I don't know.
I can't remember what it was. Like when you say Hyundai.
It is Hyundai. All the commercials are like, come to our local SoCal
Hyundai
dealer. And it's
Nobody
like, there's a
says-
Y. There's no
nobody says
Hun.
Hyundai.
There's no U.
Nobody.
But it's Hyundai.
But it's not because nobody says that. It's like when harassment became harassment, and now it's back to harassment again.
No, that's wrong.
I'm not wrong because I was alive.
It was originally harassment.
No, it wasn't. It was originally.
Before you were alive, it was harassment.
No, it
then it
wasn't.
went to harassment. Then it went back to harassment.
It
and
wasn't
now,
before I was
now
alive. It wasn't
harassment is the original pronunciation.
Should we call Nana? Because it's not.
Harassment is the Nana doesn't know.
It was harassment.
No, I've looked this up.
And then it was harassment in the 90s. And everyone was like, what?
No, harassment is the original. And then harassment has
Wrong.
come and gone.
Wrong.
It's true.
Totally
Wrong.
Totally wrong.
Wrong. I know. My aides have told me. Wrong.
Low.
Shut up, man.
Come on, man.
Would you shut up, man? That was a good debate. I don't know why everyone hated on that debate. Trump was typical Trump, but Biden did a better job than I
think
expected.
Biden was more typical Biden than people gave him credit
Well,
for.
Biden has bad
They were
days
just mad
nowadays.
because he was lucid and they couldn't believe it because they had decided that he was something he wasn't.
Remember Sleepy Joe?
He wasn't sleepy.
I'm glad they called him Sleepy Joe and not like something horrible. Like at least they just used Sleepy.
They still use sleepy.
He's a little bit sleepy. I voted for Joe, and I'll admit Joe's a little bit sleepy. Depends on the day. He's been having a lot of good days lately. I've been proud of him.
Good days. He's had more good days than bad days.
Well, realistically, we shouldn't be electing anyone who will turn 80 in either of their two terms.
You have my agreements with that.
That's not a good thing. Trump was
Not a good
69 when he got elected. Did you know that?
I thought he was 70.
No, he was 69.
Too old.
Too old.
Just like you have to be 35 to get elected, you also should not be able to be elected if you are starting your first term before you turn 65.
I think that the 35 thing should be lowered a little bit. Like
I
I
don't
know
know,
it's
Lou.
in the Constitution. It's pretty hard to change that.
Yeah, but I don't know that we need someone under 35.
No, I think that 30 is a better age.
Luciano, no way. You think 30 is a better age because you are not 30. Once you become 30, you realize how old you are not when you're 30.
And 35, those extra 5 years are the sprinkle on top.
Yes.
Not that
because
presidents
your
are
life
was a president ever
changes.
elected under 40?
I think the youngest president ever elected was
Kennedy, right?
Kennedy, but I think
And he wasn't under 40.
Are you sure?
I don't think so. JFK election age.
Let's look it up.
JFK election. He was not under 40. 46, see?
No, 46. I think Obama was 48.
Yeah, Obama was pretty young. Obama's starting to look older than Trump. Obama doesn't look so
Think
good.
about it. I mean, imagine
He's a great
how
boy.
that ages you.
Didn't age Trump. Trump was sitting drinking
But
his
Trump
Diet
was
Cokes
already-
the whole time.
Trump was already old and gross, and he already damaged his body to where he was. Like
Trump didn't stress. Trump was like sitting.
He stressed about other
He had a
stuff.
Diet Coke button.
He stressed about.
Have you seen the memes about the Diet Coke button? Trump had a Diet Coke button, and when it was pressed, like a butler would come in with a silver platter and a single Diet Coke bottle and give it to Donald Trump. Like instantly. Like I'm talking
I don't
like
think that's the first thing. I think they all have a button for something.
no, Biden has everyone's making memes because Biden got rid of the button.
No, I know, but I think Obama had a button too.
Maybe.
I think there was like some specific thing that if that was pushed, that's
I don't
what
think any human should be down in. I think it was 16 a day.
it was a lot.
It was an unacceptable.
But look at
amount.
him. I mean, when it's far away, you don't notice it very much. But when they do close-ups, his skin looks horrible. Like, he is not in a good way. He's got crinkles in his ear. Like, he's probably got some heart issues. He's not going to end in a
He
good
can't
way.
properly drink water or walk up a stair.
You know what? But that's a boomer thing. Like, I know a lot of boomers, right? They're all my family.
They have to use their pinky and their pointer and their thumb to
No.
shakily
Oh, no,
raise
I'm
it
talking
to their
about just,
mouth.
no, I'm talking about just water, period. Like, they don't drink water.
But he was drinking water, and he took
Yeah.
his pointer finger and his thumb and like put it on the water
I
and
think
shakily brings it
There's
up
a
to his mouth.
possibility that when he took his ride to Walter Reed last November,
It was a stroke.
it was a stroke
That's hilarious.
because he couldn't get down the ramp after that. I mean, it was like a slow kind of
I think-
barely
I think
walk.
the water incident might have been before that. in
No, it
fact.
wasn't. That one wasn't.
Oh, the water incident. That's Trump's Watergate, not being able to drink water.
He was his own worst enemy.
He was the entire American public's worst
He was the
enemy.
entire world's worst enemy, but he was his own. Also, his demons stem from his
Well,
lack of
like,
ability to be a human.
If there were someone like Trump in the way that Trump was like, I guess, willing to say things that people aren't usually willing to say, like, okay, fine. But Trump just said all the wrong things people are usually not willing to say.
What I don't understand are the people my age, the Gen Xers, that can be so devout to him, like the cult of Trump.
Well,
like, you guys don't have that
I
anywhere
showed
near.
you that video
What?
about the white guys.
Why they like Trump? Yeah, because
they started to see the media make it seem like the white guys were going away, which the white guys aren't going away. And then they felt like they weren't big anymore. And then Trump was the mouthpiece that made them feel like they still were. So they all became devout supporters of him. White people like that, like those guys that are in the Proud
feeling
Boys.
threatened.
Yeah, they don't have as much nuts as they'd like to think like you to think that they have. They're very scared
well,
of things.
Neither does Trump. If you get right down to it, he's actually a weenie.
He hides in his hole when things get tough for him.
He is not a tough guy. He just pretends to be tough.
Well, most of the people who outwardly call themselves a tough guy don't tend to be tough guys. Like when you have all your supporters convinced you're a tough guy because you talk about being a tough guy all the time, you and your supporters might need to look inward. Like Biden doesn't ever call himself a tough guy. Biden just like yells at people.
No, but I mean, he has like a kind of a tough guy persona.
He just yells at people. He's like, I'm done with you, press.
No, I mean even his younger self, like he'll tell the
he was
stories of the stuff that he did.
Always
He was
very.
I think he was like a
He and Corncracker.
down at the pool.
Penny's had bees on him.
My day.
Are we talking about Homer Simpson's dad? Or are we talking about
Yes.
Joe Biden?
Yes. And Donald Trump
Old
and
man
every
yells at
other
cloud.
and Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham and every other old dude who
Mitch
shouldn't be in
McConnell-
our government anymore.
Mitch McConnell has revealed his true colors now that Biden is. He like.
What?
You see him up there with this big dumb smile on his face. He's like, I'm gonna bow down to whoever's in power. Like I'm sure he'll oppose Biden stuff in the Senate, but like he's pretty good at playing like good guy.
Oh yeah, he's good at that.
He's
But
like
yeah,
the kid. He's like the naughty kid that like when the
He
parents
sh-
come in, he's the good kid.
I think you're to be surprised. He showed his true colors during Trump. Those are his true colors.
I think his true colors are that he needs to do what other people his age do and retire.
Yes, that would be a good idea. They all do. Lindsey Graham does.
Nancy Pelosi does.
Nancy
She's
Pelosi
like 100.
does. Did you know that Dianne Feinstein is 87 and she just put in to run again
Oh, Jesus.
for her next term? She's 87.
I wouldn't want
At
to.
this point, it's time. And I voted for Dianne Feinstein every time I voted because she's been in the Senate for 5,000 years. But it's time that she just gives it up.
Well-
She's in California. We are going to put another Dem in. It's
That
silly.
continues to be the problem with the two-party system. Your choice ends up being an old person or a Republican. And you're like, I don't like the Republican, but I also don't like the old person.
They're all old, though. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Dem.
Can
Half
you
of them
believe
are old.
ageism, the word ageism exists how it does? So you can't,
Well,
like if you're hiring someone, you can't be like, they're too old, we're not going to hire them. But if you're hiring someone, you can absolutely say, they're too young, we're not going to hire them.
yes. in
That
a
is
way.
literally the law.
Yes. But in the same token, Some people are too old and some people are too young.
Okay, so why isn't it a free for all? Why are these little like the old people like we need
Because I think you've been
protections?
you would be
We
then
need
forced to
protections.
put on like where that stops.
Have you ever seen all the memes where it's like entry level job needs 5 years experience?
Always.
So that's a problem.
Having tried to get into management before, every time that I ever did a interview for a management position, they said, well, you need 5 years of manager's experience. And I always say, how can I get 5 years of manager's experience if no one will give me a chance to be a manager? But you could do, so in sales. I guess
you could become like a measly manager at like a Starbucks.
No, but that's true. In sales, right? So if I wanted to be like a regional manager or a director or something like that, I would have to have that experience as a manager. But literally they'll take the experience of if you work at a store for 5 years as a manager and you didn't manage anyone, like you would be managing a group of people under a sales team, which if you're in the sales team, you would know how to become the manager.
Well, when I was at my old job, I always said like, oh, I want to be a lead. I want to be a lead. I want to be a lead. And everyone would be like, why do you want to be a lead? Like they don't make any more money. Like they literally make like 30 cents more. Like they don't make any more money. And they don't really get any perks. They kind of just work harder. And I was like, you guys are dumb. Like you get to put on your resume, yo, I was in a management role at 20 years old. Like that's why.
Yeah. Like it's smart. That part's smart.
I never ended up being a lead because we got this dumb virus come around, but I bet you I was on track. I had a lot of the leads telling me weird stuff. That was a bummer. I missed my job. And when we come back, I don't think they're going to let anyone be I don't think they're going to let the old leads go back to being leads.
Oh, they'll like weed them out.
I don't even think they'll offer like.
But a lead there wasn't a manager, were they?
Doesn't matter. You put it on your resume and you say, I led people. And they're like, whoa, he led people.
I guess.
Anyway, leads do more managing than the managers. The managers sit in their offices. The leads like actually go and manage people.
Well, I'm not saying they don't do that. I'm just saying I don't necessarily know that that's a straight manager, right?
I mean, your job is to tell people what to do.
I guess.
Is that not a manager?
I guess it's the same example of
just a stupid title.
Somebody running a team versus running a store. It's different. You're running different groups of people doing different things. It's not the same.
I don't know. It's kind of hard. I like the fact that interviews exist because interviews are my strong suit.
So that's why you like that they exist?
Well, I like the interviews are a thing like, like nowadays society's like, here's why interviews are bad and we should get rid of them in the workplace and
How would you get people if you didn't interview them?
I'm just saying people just submit the resume and hire them, I guess. I don't know.
That would be really
people
hard
like to get rid of and reform things that totally work.
People could totally lie on their resume and not be.
But I like interviews because like my resume is pretty all right, but then I get into the interview and I'm like, look at how personable I am.
I can't imagine they would get away. I guess it's possible, but I can't imagine they would really get rid of interviews. You need to know if that person fits, not just in being capable to be able to do the job, but you need to know that they fit with your community within that company.
I'd like to fit within a community at a company.
You will fit within a community company. Eventually you will fit.
I think this podcast is getting too long.
I'm sure it is.
So we should probably stop the podcast.
Okay.
What did we talk about?
What did we talk about?
Well, okay, let's stop the podcast.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Shouldn't we end it a different way?
How are we going to end it?
Well, I'm X.
And I'm Z.
And this is X and Z.
Bye.
Bye.